Welcome to 716 Sports Blizzard. Today my guest is Chris Pomay, and we're gonna talk some sports.
Hello, Robby, on this Sunday, March 29th, 2026. Busy time of the year for sports, Robby. Thank you for having me back on your show for a fourth time. And we got March Madness going on. We got NBA going on. We got NHL going on. Major League Baseball going on. National Lacrosse League going on. Who misses the NFL? Nobody. So much going on right now, Robby. Thank you so much again for having me on your show.
Yeah.
What would you like to start off with first? You want to talk Sabres? You want to talk Bandits? You want to talk a little college basketball?
Well, that Bandits game last night.
Did you see the whole game or no?
I watched some of it, and they were losing. So
yes, it was but that's part of the Buffalo Bandits. It is to fall behind 3-4 goals late in the game and then come back and win the game. It was exactly the same type of win that they had against San Diego last Saturday night. And Joe Ressateres, who's a Hamburg, New York native, he scored the winning goal, 8-7 with 45 seconds left. You should have saw the crazy ending of it. Paul Dawson, with 25 seconds left, got a penalty for having an illegal stick. Apparently, he was using a stick that wasn't legal size. So Saskatchewan got the ball and a power play, and the Bandits killed it off and hung on for a win, 8-7. Bandits, man, 5 straight wins. 2 over Saskatchewan, 1 over the Toronto Rock, 1 over Colorado, 1 over San Diego. They've gone from being out of the playoffs, Robby, to now the number 5 seed. They're only one game behind Georgia and Colorado. So the Bandits very well could get a home playoff game. I don't think they're going to get the number 1 seed, but I think the Bandits are 9-6, man. 5 straight wins, and these teams they beat have been all good teams, Robby. They haven't been crappy teams at all. And in Saskatchewan, they've beaten them 5 times out of the last 6 meetings and beat them twice this year. So that's huge. And the Bandits are now ahead of the Toronto Rock. The Rock lost to the Philadelphia Wings. By the way, the Bandits lost to the Wings earlier this year too. So, but the Bandits are in a good position. The Bandits should make the playoffs now, being the number 5 seed, and they should move up possibly to the number 4 seed. I'm not sure if they can get higher than 4, but they got 3 games left, Robby. Saturday, April 4th against Vancouver Warriors, 11-4, the number 1 team in the NLL. And then they've got to take on the Rochester Nighthawks, who kind of have been struggling this year. Both of these games are at home against Vancouver, Rochester. And then the Bandits take on the second worst team in the league, the Oshawa Firewolves, at the end of the regular season. So the Bandits really should win all 3 games to finish the season, but 2 out of 3. I would say Vancouver's going to be tough. Rochester is more than winnable, and same with Oshawa. Not disrespecting Rochester and Oshawa, but the Bandits really minimum should win 2 out of 3. I do feel they should be able to beat Vancouver at home at the KeyBank Center Saturday, April 4th, Robby. And are you going to the game with your sister and family?
Just me and my sister are going to that game.
What do you like most about going to a Bandits game at the KeyBank Center?
What do I like most about going down to the KeyBank Center?
Yes. What do you like the most about going to the games?
Like when Chris Swenson does the PA announcing, and when he announces the players onto the floor, and having his son out there on the field with him?
Brett.
Yeah, Brett.
He's been doing their PA announcing for a long time. I believe Chris is the only PA announcer the Bandits have ever had since 1992. So he's been a part of 7 of their championship teams, which is amazing. And Chris used to be the Buffalo Sabres PA announcer back in the late 90s. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that he did that.
Yeah. He was their PA announcer when they went to the Stanley Cup in 1999. Their last Stanley Cup appearance in 1999. Him and John Tavares have been with the team since 1992. By the way, the Bandits just played their 500th National Lacrosse League game on Saturday, and that was their 300th win as a franchise. They have been so successful since 1992, Robby. I don't think you were even born when the Bandits were formed back in 1992. They played in the Major Indoor Lacrosse League, originally called the MIL, MIL, and then it became the National Lacrosse League. But hey, this Bandits team, I heard all these critics. Matt Vince, 42 years old, too old, no good. Look at him now. Age is just a number, and Matt Vince is the greatest goalie in NLL history. He's also the greatest goalie in Buffalo Bandits history, and he can still play the game. And to hold Saskatchewan, a top team in the league, to 7 goals at home in their home arena, Matt kept them in the game. If it wasn't for Matt Vince yesterday, they would have lost that game. Not that the Bandits played bad. It's just when they were down 7-3, it could have been 8-3, 9-3, 10-3, 11-3. He kept them in it. And then Kyle Buchanan, Bucky, got them back in it. And then Dane Smith scored. Dane Smith had a quiet game, by the way. He only had 1 goal, 2 assists. 1 goal, 1 assist for 2 points. So they did a really good job on shutting down Dane Smith. Josh Byrne, 2 goals, 5 assists, 7 points. Joe Restater, who they got from the Philadelphia Wings, 1 goal, 1 assist as well. So the Bandits are now 5th in the United standings. And right now, if the National Lacrosse League playoffs started tonight, Buffalo would take on Colorado. But the game would be in Colorado because Colorado is still 1 game ahead of them. So I think for the Bandits, they really need to try to move up as high as they can. And I think fourth or third is realistic. But they're going to have to win all 3 games and probably need Colorado or Georgia to lose the game too as well.
Is this next Bandits game like huge for the Bandits to win?
Yes. Vancouver is 11-4. Vancouver is fighting with Saskatchewan to be the number 1 seed. So Vancouver needs this game to stay up number 1. And Buffalo, they're 9-6. They're number 5. Yes, Buffalo wants to move up. Do you want the Bandits to have their first round 1-game playoff at home in Buffalo, or do you want them to go on the road? It's not that the Bandits can't win on the road, but what would be a little easier for the Bandits, Robby, to play that first home playoff game in Buffalo or to play on the road? What would be easier in your opinion?
Like, I always liked the road game. Like,
would you rather have them start the first round of the playoffs on the road then instead of at home?
Yeah, because I mean, you got your fans at home, but Banditland also travels well.
That's true. But I think I could speak for John Tavares and Steve Dietrich, the assistant coach GM. The Bandits obviously can win on the road, and they're a good road team. But why wouldn't you want to have a home game at home in Banditland? So it doesn't mean you're guaranteed to win that game. But I think for a 1-game playoff, you want to have that game at home. So I do believe the Bandits are going to try to win all 3 games, and hopefully they can move up in the standings. And everyone that wrote them off should be ashamed of themselves. How do you count this team out? 3 straight NLL championships, 5 straight appearances. They are the only dynasty in Buffalo sports history. The Bills, they haven't done nothing. The Sabres, no disrespect to the Bills and Sabres, but the Bandits
Yeah.
are by far the best are the best and most successful pro sports franchise in the city of Buffalo, and they've only been around since 1992. And it all starts with John Tavares and Steve Dittrich. And did you see my shows this week, Robbie, on live with CDP Sports Entertainment Talk Show? I had Buffalo Bandits transition player defenseman Thomas Whitty on my show, and he also played his lacrosse at the University of Guelph, where I live. And his family owns a winery in St. Catharines. Thomas told me the same thing. It's a bandit way. Everybody plays the right way. There's no individual players, like individual play on the Bandits. You got to play like a team. And then Chase Frazier, he misses Buffalo, but he had to make a business decision. And unfortunately, Chase was a free agent, and in the NLL, there's a salary cap, and you can only keep so many guys. So I think Chase ideally would have liked to stay in Buffalo, but he had to make a business decision. And him and Chris Cloutier are helping turn around the Vegas Desert Dogs. They're 7-7 now, by the way. Chase has been injured for the last 7 games, so hopefully Chase will return. But Chris Cloutier has been a big impact on them, and Chase Frazier. And those two guys, since they came from Buffalo, have helped turn around Las Vegas, and Vegas right now is in the number 8 seed as well. And those guys, they miss those guys, Chris Cloutier and Chase Frazier. But unfortunately, when you're in a league with a salary cap, you can't keep everybody. Just like Connor Fields a couple years ago, he left Buffalo to go to Rochester, and it wasn't like these guys didn't want to stay in Buffalo. It's just you can only pay so many guys, and the Bandits have their money tied up in Dane Smith and Josh Byrne and Matt Vince, rightly so. So, but I think Joe Restaterre was a good move, and I think Thomas Whitty has been a good move when they acquired him a couple years ago for, I believe it was Dylan Robinson. One of the Robinson brothers. They traded to Rochester, but this organization just knows how to win, Robbie, and none of the fans should have counted them out. So, and I think teams in the league are starting to discover the Bandits are back. And this game is on April 4th at 7:00. And I believe what day is April 4th, Robbie?
It's I think it's a Saturday.
It's a 7:00 game, and it will be on TSN here in Canada. It'll be on ESPN Plus. It'll be on NLL Plus, and it'll be on Buffalo Bandits Radio. I think either WGR 550 or the Score 1520 in Buffalo. So you know who you should try to get on your show is Steve Bermel. Steve Bermel, the Bandits radio analyst. He is on Twitter X, Robbie. So just send him a message. Tell him that you're a friend of mine and you would like to try to have him on your show, okay? Steve is somebody I think you should have on your show. He knows the Bandits as well as anybody, and he does a really great job.
Is there another one I have to go through somebody, or
the same person I mentioned off air? So when you approach people to come on your show from like the Bandits or any sports organization, obviously you want to talk to that person, he or she, first. And then if they say, yes, I'd like to come on your show, then you have to reach out to the media people from the I'm back. I think that was on my Wi-Fi connection. Robbie. So anyways.
Yeah, I'm still here. Oh no.
People from the Bandits on his show as well. So hopefully we can get Robbie back there. Technically, if you have to go on, so make sure Wi-Fi or the internet, keep talking. Don't have dead air, okay?
Yeah.
Just so. Sabres are winning the Stanley Cup. Okay, we've talked about the Bandits for 15 minutes. I think the Bandits are back being a contender. Sabres. Okay, Robbie, my opinion, the Sabres have improved. They're a good young team. They're improved. But this talk about the Sabres winning the Stanley Cup, They haven't won a playoff round since 2007. I'm telling you, the
Yeah.
Sabres are having a great year. Don't get me wrong. 98 points. They're one of the top teams in the East. They're one of the top teams in the NHL. But to say they're a Stanley Cup championship team yet, I don't think so. First of all, you have to get into the playoffs. The playoffs, Robbie, for any team is different than any sport. Let's say I'm a Detroit Red Wings fan. I don't know if the Red Wings are going to get in the playoffs, but none of the players on the Red Wings have seen the playoffs because the Red Wings have missed the playoffs 9 years in a row. Who on the Buffalo Sabres has even seen playoff hockey? I'm not making excuses, but this team is going to be very inexperienced come the first round. And the NHL setup is harder than the other leagues. You don't play crappy teams in the first round in the NHL like you do in the NBA or the other leagues. I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer. I think the Sabres are a good team. They're a good young team. They're well coached by Lindy Ruff, but I don't think they're a Stanley Cup contender yet. I think if the team gets to the first, they're going to make the playoffs, obviously, Robbie. They're going to break their 14-year drought. That's positive. They're going to have home ice in the first round. I think if the Sabres can win a couple games in the first round, get some experience, that's going to help this team go forward. I'll be shocked if the Sabres go all the way to the Stanley Cup after 14 years of missing it. This is the same with Detroit. Let's say Detroit had Buffalo's record now. I would still say the same thing, say, hey, the Red Wings team's having a great year, but they don't have any playoff experience. And one thing I don't like about the Sabres is they don't have a number one goalie. They got what? Luka New. I can't pronounce his name. Luka. We got 3 goalies right now. 3 goalie systems. UPL. Alex Lyon was okay with the Red Wings, but the Red Wings released him. And Florida let him go too. They got Lyon, UPL, and they have another guy. I'm not saying they're crappy goalies, but you can't win a Stanley Cup with a goaltending committee. You need to have that number one goalie. I really do feel the Sabres, they have a good team, but I feel their weakness is going to be goaltending in the playoffs. And I also feel that inexperience is going to be different, especially with Buffalo having home ice advantage in the first round. Sabres are going to sell out the arena. The fans are going to have high expectations. There's going to be a lot of pressure on Buffalo to get out of the first round, and they haven't even been in the playoffs in 15 years, and they haven't won a playoff round since 2007. So do you see what I'm saying, Robbie? I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer. I just don't know if this team winning their division, being a top team in the East, they're going to get over 100 points. Those are great accomplishments. And getting into the playoffs for the first time in 15 years, that's a great accomplishment. Getting some playoff experience is a great accomplishment. I just don't know if this roster is constructed good enough to go to 4 rounds because, Robbie, out of all the sports, don't you think winning the Stanley Cup is probably the hardest trophy out of all the sports?
Winning the Stanley Cup
it's 4 rounds and it's best of 7. Yeah. It could take you up to 28 games. Like if you swept every series, which I doubt any team will ever do, that's 16 games. But if you go to the full 7 games every series, that's 28 games. That's 16 to 28 extra games. That is a lot of hockey. And that's 2 months of playing hockey. So, Robbie, to me, I think the Stanley Cup playoffs are the hardest one to win.
Yeah, I think that winning the Cup is a lot harder than winning, the NLL championship.
No, I think the NLL championship is hard too, but they don't play as many games as the NHL. The NLL is the first round is the best of 1, and then the second round and the finals are best of 3s. They don't have the TV contract enough money to play like the NHL does. The NLL championship is still hard to win, but the Stanley Cup, man, 4 rounds, 7-game series, and who's to say someone doesn't get hurt? Now, I think Tage Thompson's great. I think Dahlin is great. I just don't like their goaltending, and I think goaltending and lack of playoff experience is going to do the Sabres in. And they could very well – I don't think Detroit's going to make it, honestly. I'll give you the thoughts on the Red Wings in a couple minutes. I just think goaltending, inexperience, and they're going to end up playing possibly Tampa or Boston or Montreal in the first round, they're not going to get some ham and egg or first round opponent. So even if the Sabres, let's say they play Tampa, Montreal, or Boston, and they get out of the first round, that series is going to go 7 games. So there's going to be no 4-game sweeps. There's going to be no easy series. And I think Montreal's playing well. I think Tampa Bay is a great team. And Boston. Boston is a team that just beat Buffalo the other day in Buffalo. And as whether you like the Bruins or not, or hate the Bruins are going to be a pain in the butt to take out in the best of 7 series. And as for my Red Wings, they have the talent, but they're mentally soft. They don't have enough sandpaper on the team. I'm not a fan of Todd McClellan, their head coach, and I don't think they have enough grit. They don't have guys that are tough players that'll grind, and I think they're soft defensively, and their goaltending hasn't been good. John Gibson and Cam Talbot have been average at best, and they're inconsistent. There's been times where the Red Wings went into Buffalo and smoked the Sabres 5-2 Friday night. I didn't think they would go into Buffalo and beat the Sabres 5-2. And then last night they come home to Philadelphia at Little Caesars Arena, and for 50 minutes they sleepwalk down 4-0, and then with less than 10 minutes left, they score 3 goals, make it 4-3, and then they give it up an empty net goal. So the big win against Buffalo got notified by the loss against Philadelphia. The Red Wings have 8 games left. The Red Wings basically, I think, have to win all 8 games and get some teams ahead of them to lose. So, but the Red Wings, I don't think they'll make the playoffs, and this will be 10 years in a row. The Sabres are going to end their 14-year playoff drought, so the Detroit Red Wings now will take over the longest playoff drought at 10 years. So they're going to have to make some changes in the offseason. But I do like the Sabres. They have a little more grit on their team, and I think Lindy Ruff should be the coach of the year. The last time the Sabres were any good, Lindy Ruff was their head coach. So Lindy Ruff should be the permanent head coach of the Sabres as long as he wants to be, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I think having a guy like Lindy being the coach and having him as the coach for maybe another year or 2, depending how he feels about it.
Oh, yeah, but I think Lindy Ruff... And you know what's funny? The GM they fired, Kevin Adams, constructed this roster. And it's funny how he got fired, this team turned around. Usually when you fire a coach, the team plays better for a new coach. But generally when a new GM comes in, not much happens. But I still think Kevin Adams should get some credit. I'm not saying he didn't deserve to get fired, but he did construct a lot of this roster, and he did bring Lindy Ruff back. So whether you like Kevin Adams or not, he is partly responsible for this franchise success. And one thing too, the fans got to relax. They lost a couple games in overtime. Okay. They lost to a Boston team that was desperate 4-2. They lost to Detroit, who's desperate 5-2. Fans were panicking. I'm like, relax, guys. The Sabre team is good. They're exciting, but they're not invincible. They're not going to win every game. And I find the fans it's ridiculous. Like when they win, yeah, we're going to win the cup. But when we lose, fire Lindy, we're done. It's like, come on. It's better to go through a slump now. I wasn't really a bad slump, Robby. I think they were 0-2-1. They were in a 3-game losing streak. They were 0-2-1. People were panicking and jumping off the bandwagon. I'm like, oh my God, relax, folks. You're still first in the East. You're still ahead of Tampa Bay, and you're also playing teams that are desperate to get in the playoffs. Not everybody's going to play the Sabres and say, oh, we better roll over to the Sabres. Lindy Ruff would say the same thing to you right now, Robby. Just because you're playing the Buffalo Sabres doesn't mean you're going to just roll up and deliberately want to lose. You want to play your best hockey, because the Buffalo Sabres are no longer a bad hockey team. They are a very good hockey team, and you're going to have targets on your back. The better you are, people are going to come after you. The Buffalo Bandits, look at them. Buffalo, the Bandits, everybody in the National Lacrosse League, which team do they want to beat the most?
The Bandits.
And now the Sabres are finding out when you're successful, other teams are going to play their A game or play better. And the Sabres play the Islanders Tuesday night. You can't tell. I know the game's in Buffalo, but you can't tell me, oh, that's going to be a gimme game. The Islanders are going to play the Sabres tough, and I wouldn't be shocked if the Islanders came into Buffalo and won or took the Sabres to overtime. That's going to be a hard game against the Islanders. Just like the Bandits' next game against Vancouver. The Bandits are red hot, 9-6, but Vancouver is 11-4, and Vancouver has already beaten the Bandits once. So again, the Bandits have a tough opponent this week, and I think it's good for the Sabres because when they play teams that are desperate, they're going to find that out in the playoffs. Because when you're in the playoffs, every game counts, every shift, desperation. So the Sabres are sort of getting a little taste of what the playoffs are like now, in my opinion.
Yeah, because like when you get into playoffs, like you're playing teams that are like
good. You're playing good teams. Yeah,
and it's like you have a target on your back, kind of when
bingo.
When you're in the playoffs.
Yep, just like the Islanders game against Buffalo Tuesday, it's going to be like a playoff game. Because the Islanders are fighting to get in the playoffs too, and they got a good hockey club. So we'll see. And speaking of hockey, Vegas fired their head coach today. Bruce Cassidy fired, and they replaced him with John Tortorella, a.k.a. Fonzie, who's been around every team in the league. The Rangers, the Flyers, the Canucks, Tampa Bay. I can't even count how many teams he's been with. So that's some news for your fans here, Robby. Vegas fires Bruce Cassidy and hires John Tortorella as their new head coach. Straight from CDP.
And yeah, and he was with the Team USA when the Olympics was going on.
John Tortorella is not a long-term coach. He'll come in for a couple years, have a little success, and then he'll end up getting fired. So I don't know if he's a long-term solution for the Golden Knights either. But to fire a coach at this point of the season is kind of desperate. If they're going to fire him, they should have fired Bruce Cassidy in my place probably back in January or February. To fire him now at the end of March when you're only a few weeks away from the playoffs, bringing in a new coach with like 3 weeks left in the season. So we'll see. We'll see if it works. So, Robby, we got March Madness going on. Obviously, you had some games at the KeyBank Center. Did you and your family go to any of the games that were at the KeyBank Center?
No, I mean, we didn't go down to the games, but like I tuned in when they were on TV just to see what it was like.
Well, my Michigan Wolverines won again today, 95-62. 95 Michigan, 62 Tennessee. So Michigan advances to the Final Four for the 9th time in franchise history. And their next game, Michigan takes on Arizona next Saturday. Time to be determined. And then the other game, Duke choked. Duke was up 15 points at halftime, and I'm thinking, okay, this is over. And UConn in the second half outscored Duke by 16 points. UConn 73, Duke 72. So UConn advances, and they take on Illinois. So the Final Four next week is UConn against Illinois and Michigan against Arizona. Out of those 4 teams, Robby, who are you picking to win the men's basketball championship for March Madness? Who's your pick?
Well, from like what you were saying, I'm gonna go with the blue and gold, the Michigan.
Good choice. Michigan, me too. I'm going with Michigan as well. And we got some baseball back. Major League Baseball is back. Your Buffalo Bisons. They played 3 games at home this week and only won 1 game. They lost 8-0 on their home opener on Friday. And then I think Saturday's game got rained out or it was too cold. And then today they played a doubleheader. The first game they lost 5-4, competitive game. And then the second game they won 7-3. So the Bison start out 1-2, and now they go to Omaha for the next 6 games. Did you go to any of the Bison's games this weekend, Robby?
I haven't been down to any of the games yet because the weather hasn't broke yet.
I personally think it's too early for the Bisons to be playing in Buffalo in March. They got the games in today, and then the game on Friday was only 32 degrees, which was 0 Celsius. That was the second coldest game in Salem Field history. So they did get the games in this weekend, but they're now in Omaha, Nebraska for the next 6 games. So it'll be a bit over a week before the Bisons come back to Buffalo. But I just think having games in March and April in Buffalo, it's kind of dicey, but they got the games in today. I don't know what they expect from this team. They got some players back from last year. They got the same manager, Casey Candell, but they got a new coaching staff. So we'll see. Bison's first-class organization. I'm just not sure how good of a team they will be this year. I guess time will tell. We'll see how they do on the 6-game road trip at Omaha, Nebraska against the Storm Chasers. I believe that's the Kansas City Royals farm team. You planning on going to any Bison's games this summer, Robby?
I'm planning to get down there once the weather gets warmer.
Yeah. I can ask you this, Robby. What happened to your co-host? Whatever happened to him? Do you still talk to him?
Which
Ron? I can't remember his name again.
Oh, Ranting Ron. I still talk to him.
No, it's the other guy. I can't remember his name, but you've had a couple co-hosts here.
Oh,
and have you had Robin Monday on your show lately?
Not recently. I haven't had her on yet.
Why don't you reach out to her and have her come on again? Just reach out to her. She was on my show a couple years ago. She knows the Bills as well as anybody. She's a good person.
Yeah.
Have you reached out to Nick Small lately?
Not lately, no.
No, you should talk to him. He was just in Japan for 3 weeks. So I'm sure if you reach out to Nick, he'd be happy to come on and talk about his 3-week trip to Japan. He went over there for 3 weeks. So, and I co-host the Argo Bounce podcast show with Nick Small and myself during the CFL season. CFL season starts in May. See, being Canadian, I get pro football almost 10 months of the year because the CFL, the Canadian Football League for your audience, and the NFL don't start at the same time. They overlap. So when the CFL starts, the NFL is sleeping. And when the NFL is starting up, the CFL finishes up in November when they have their Grey Cup. This year's Grey Cup, which is our Super Bowl, will be in Calgary at McMahon Stadium. By the way, when's Buffalo going to get a new arena? The KeyBank Center is 30 years old. When are they going to renovate that arena or build a new one?
I don't know. I mean, it's been a while since they got that arena, tore down the Odd.
Yeah.
That's where Canal Side is.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I mean, I would.
Did you ever go to a game at the Odd?
I was born in 95, so.
And the Odd closed in 96, so probably not.
Yeah.
The Odd closed in 96, so. Okay. I went to the Odd once. February 26, 1992, the Detroit Red Wings played the Buffalo Sabres at the Odd. Detroit 9, Buffalo 4. 13 goals scored in that game, and Detroit won 9-4. I sat up in the orange seats with all the smokers. Oh, my God, there's so much smoking there. It's like, oh, my God. That was the only thing I didn't like about the arena is the smoking. It was, bad. I never liked smoking, and I just can't stand the smell of it. But, when they did demolish the arena, me and my friend Rob we got some bricks from the Odd. So he's got a full brick from the construction site, and I got a couple of pieces of the Odd in my home. So, yeah, and I still have the ticket stub from that game too.
That's cool.
Pardon me, sorry. It's just I have allergies. So tell your audience I just have allergies. So I apologize for that. So, hey, we're over 35 minutes right now, Robby. So, but yeah, the Sabres, they're looking good. The Bills, I don't know, Robby, Joe Brady.
Yeah, I don't.
Sean McDermott is a good head coach. Whether you like the Bills or not, Sean McDermott wasn't the reason they lost the game to Denver. I'm sorry, but Josh Allen threw 4 interceptions.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but Sean McDermott can't throw interceptions. And I just think I look, Josh Allen's a good quarterback, but Sean McDermott wasn't the reason they lost to Denver. And I don't know what you're going to get out of a first-year rookie head coach, Joe Brady. So I think the Bills made a mistake in firing Sean McDermott, and that's my opinion. And if your viewers are watching, you got comments for Robby or myself, put them in the comment section.
Yeah. And I do have a new listener that's like in and out some.
Who's your new listener?
Her name is Chelsea. Is her name?
Chelsea. Hi, Chelsea. I used to have a dog named Chelsea a long time ago. It's a nice name. So
yeah, she spells it with an I, not the SEA.
Okay. Well, Robby, what do you look to get to improve upon on your podcast? What are you looking to do next? Who would you want to interview next?
Well, I would like to interview Steve
Bermel from the Buffalo Bandits.
Yeah, and
good choice. And then Chris Swenson,
yeah, him.
And who else? You got to give me some names.
What's that comedian that you had on before? Allie, I think her name is
Allie Brady. She's the public address, or she's the in-game arena host for the Buffalo Bandits, and she sometimes does the Sabre games too. So don't be afraid to reach out to Allie, and make sure you tell her you're a friend of mine.
Yeah.
Okay. Don't be afraid to, Robby. Whether you want to get into radio or media like myself, and you just want to do this as a hobby or a project, just don't be afraid to reach out to people. Okay, just reach out to them. Don't be pushy. Just reach out to them. Say, hey, I'm Robby Snyder. I am a podcast host of my own show, 716 Sports Blizzard Podcast. I'm a huge fan of the Buffalo Bandits, Buffalo Sabres, and I would like to ask you if you might have some time to come on my show. Just reach out. And if they say yes, great. If they say no, that's okay. Or if they don't reply back, wait about a week and do a follow-up. And then if you don't hear from them on the follow-up, then you probably should move on. The key is you don't want to be pushy. You don't want to force people into coming on your show. You want them to be happy and enthusiastic about coming on your show, okay?
And there's one more person. She's from Pittsburgh, but she came to Buffalo and worked with the Amherst. Her name was Susie Cool. She did.
I remember her. I'm just not sure what happened to her. I think she went to the Lee. I think she went to the Phillies farm team.
She was in Pittsburgh. Then she came up to Rochester. Now she's back in Pittsburgh with the Penguins, I think.
Well, don't be afraid to reach out, Robby. But like the key is don't be pushy. Just tell them who you are, what you're doing, what your show's about. Tell them a little bit about yourself, not your whole life story, and hopefully they get back to you. And then let's say you don't hear from them for about a week, no response, do a follow-up. And if you don't hear from them on a follow-up, then probably move on. I'm just giving you my experience because I've done over 1,500 interviews in 6 years.
And my co-host name is his name is Logan.
That's who. Logan Roth? Logan. That's who. What's Logan up to these days?
Oh, he's still helping me out when he can.
Well, make sure you say hi to Logan for me next.
Yeah, I will.
Yeah, that's who I meant, Logan. Yeah, that's good.
Oh.
Oh, there he is. He's watching on YouTube. Hey, Logan.
Yeah. He must have just popped in or.
That's good. That's good. Yeah, hopefully you can Logan on again. And like you said, Robby, I was glad to come on tonight. I've done 17 shows in March. 17 shows with 20 different guests. Yes, we were talking about you. Red Wings 5, Sabres 2. Detroit and my teams beat Buffalo again. Just kidding. Hey, Logan, the Sabres are a very good team. And Detroit, I don't think it's going to make the playoffs. They got too many issues. So, yes, that's good, Logan. Good to see you, buddy. Good to see you. I'd like to see Robby try to do this show once a month. I do apologize, Robby. I don't normally blow my nose live on TV on air, but I have allergies tonight. I have allergies,
yeah.
So I hate allergies. But
yeah,
I'm glad to come on talk sports with you. Major League Baseball's back in action. Thanks, Logan. Major League Baseball's back. Which team are you a fan of again? Yankees or Mets? I know it's one of the New York teams.
Well. My dad's a Yankee fan. But my team, I like Texas because of the red, white, and blue. The Texas Rangers.
I thought you were a Mets fan.
That's my friend Ron.
You mean Howard Simon? He's a huge Mets fan.
Howard Simon, Ron.
Yeah. Well, the Tigers won 2 out of 3 against San Diego. Now they're off today, and they're in Arizona. The Blue Jays swept the AAA A's. They're very bad. The Blue Jays are 3-0. The Yankees are 3-0. The Dodgers are 3-0, but it's still too early yet. It's only it's not even April yet. There are so many games. It's a long season, but I am glad baseball is back as well.
Yeah,
it's a great time of the year for sports.
I'm looking forward to the CFL season.
Yes, training camp starts, I believe, May 10th. May 10th. The Argos will be at the University of Guelph. And then their first preseason game for the Toronto Argonauts is on May 23rd at the Hamilton Tiger Cats. And then they have a preseason game here in Guelph on Friday, May 29th at 7 o'clock at the University of Guelph. You can get your tickets through guelphgriffins.ca or go through the Argonauts website, argonauts.ca as well. Argos have a new head coach, new coaching staff, and they got a lot of new players this year. So the Argos were terrible last year, 5-13, coming off a Grey Cup. So the Argos are going to look new this year with their coaching staff, but they still have Buffalo native Chad Kelly as their quarterback. Kelly missed the whole year last year with a broken leg. So Kelly has not played in over a year.
Oh.
So, And the Toronto Argonauts website for your audience, argonauts.ca, or check out the Canadian Football League website at cfl.ca. And I also do some freelance media coverage of the Toronto Argonauts, the Buffalo Bandits, and I used to cover freelance independent media coverage of the Buffalo Bisons for a couple years as well. And the Canadian Baseball Hall of Fame, I cover once a year as well. And this year, their class of 26 is headlined by former Blue Jay and former Bison coach Devon White. He'll be in the Canadian Baseball Hall of Fame this year.
That's cool to have like a Canadian Baseball Hall of Fame.
It's our version of the Baseball Hall of Fame in Coopersville or Cooperstown.
Yeah.
Yes, so it's not as big as the one in Cooperstown, but it's still very nice. And the Canadian Baseball Hall of Fame, check out their website, baseballhalloffame.ca. That's baseballhalloffame.ca. And they are located at 386 Church Street West in St. Mary's, Ontario, which is about 45 minutes from Guelph. And it's a little small town of 7,000 people. It's sort of like Cooperstown. Scott Crawford is the director of operations. So anybody who's watching our show tonight, come down to St. Mary's, Ontario this summer to the Canadian Baseball Hall of Fame. And Dan Schuman's son, Ben Schuman, who's the radio voice of the Blue Jays, will be the MC. And Dan Schuman, his dad, will be getting the Jack Graney Award for media contributions to the game of baseball in Canada as well. So the Canadian Baseball Hall of Fame class of 2026 goes on Saturday, June 20th. And Hazel May, who does the Blue Jays game for Sportsnet, she'll be there as well.
Oh, that's cool.
Anything else, Robby, you wanted to ask me before we wrap this up? Is your show on audio or just YouTube?
It just goes right to YouTube. It's I mean, I would like to eventually go audio also, but I don't know how to do it.
Spotify. Go to Spotify. Register with Spotify. Because my show is live and audio. Is it okay if I plug my shows?
Yeah.
I have
go
three
for it.
shows. I have 3 talk shows. My main baby is Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show, brought to you by Barry Cullen Chevrolet Dealership here in Guelph. I do that show 4 to 5 times a week. Very diverse guests and topics. It's not just sports, it's everything. Then my second show is the Argo Bells podcast show. It's a weekly show during the Toronto Argonauts CFL season. I do once a week with my co-host Nick Small. Nick's 28, I'm 53. I'm the old Argo fan. He's the young Argo fan. So our show is basically the young against the old point of perspective there. And we have guests from around the CFL on that show. And my third show, the Small Talk podcast with Marlene Sharp, myself. Marlene is my co-host. She's out of LA, Los Angeles. She's in the cartoon animation industry. And our show is once a month. And we talk to guests from the entertainment industry as well. So 3 shows there. And I love what I'm doing, Robby. And my show is on, all my shows are on video and audio platforms. And my next Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show, brought to you by BarryCullen.com. Monday, March 30th, 5:30 p.m. Eastern. I have 8-time Michigan Regional Sports Network reporter, host, winner, Trevor Thompson. Trevor Thompson is from Ontario, and he has been with Fox Sports Detroit, Bally Sports, and FanDuel Sports Network in Detroit for 25 years as the reporter, host, and anchor for Red Wings coverage and Detroit Tigers coverage. So Trevor's going to come on and talk to us about his career, going to school here in Ontario, being from Toronto, and then going over to Detroit. So if you're a fan of Trevor Thompson, a fan of the Detroit Red Wings, fan of the Detroit Tigers, or the Detroit Lions, Trevor also has a podcast show called Believe in Lions Podcast. Believe in Lions Podcast with former Detroit Lion player Glover Quinn. So if you're a fan of the Detroit Lions, check out Believe in Lions Podcast with Trevor Thompson and former Lion Glover Quinn. Tomorrow night, 5:30, live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, X, Twitch, LinkedIn, Instagram, and on audio platforms such as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Good Pods, wherever podcasts are available. And my next Small Talk podcast, Tuesday, March 31st, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 on the West Coast, with special guest Diane Strand. She is an award-winning executive producer and the founder and CEO of JDS Studios out in California. So make sure you check my next live with CDP tomorrow night, 5:30 with Trevor Thompson, and then Tuesday the Small Talk podcast, 8 o'clock with Diane Strand, with my co-host Marlene Sharp and myself. And again, my website is beacons.ai/Chris D. Pomay, and my YouTube channel, Chris Pomay, live with CDP Talk Show. Please subscribe, like, and share. And I have over 4,200 videos of content there as well. So just Google my name, Chris Pomay. I'm everywhere on social media.
My friend from that I talked to from TikTok, her name is Chelsea. We've been talking, and we were on screen together a little bit before I came on live with you, and we were talking about like sports teams and stuff, because she's trying to get to know me personally to listen to my shows. And
that's good, Robby. That's good. Oh, by the way, TikTok. I'm on TikTok at Chris Pomay. At Chris Pomay on TikTok, and also Blue Sky too. I think, Robby, you're on Blue Sky too. Blue Sky at live with CDP 19. And hey, Robby, I want to say thank you for having me on again, and hopefully we can get Logan back on again and have the three of us on at some point as well. But I just want to say thank you for your friendship, for your support. Yeah. And I really appreciate that, Robby. And I hope you know how much I appreciate it. And sometimes I can't always reply back to you because I do wear 10 different hats. You see the hat I'm wearing? The Bandits hat?
Yeah.
I wear 10 different hats wearing this show. Like, I'm the producer, content creator, I edit video. So I wear a lot of stuff, but I try to get back to you when I get a chance. But I was glad to come on here tonight. So thank you to yourself and to your audience, and hopefully everybody enjoyed this show tonight.
Yeah, it was good to reconnect and talk about the different sports that were going on.
Yeah, lots of sports going on. The Detroit Pistons are 54-20. They're in Oklahoma tomorrow night to take on the Thunder. And the Pistons are 2 years ago, the Pistons were 14 wins, 68 losses. And now 2 years later, they're 54-20. To me, the two biggest stories in sports are the Detroit Pistons and the Buffalo Sabres. And the Pistons are winning without Cade Cunningham. He's been out with a collapsed lung, which is pretty serious. The Pistons have been 10-3, so it's nice to see the Buffalo Sabres become competitive and good again, and the Pistons haven't been very good for 15 years, so it's kind of nice to see stories like that, how franchises can turn around.
And my friend Chelsea is in the audience listening to the show.
Hi, Chelsea. Thanks for watching and listening.
Yeah, and
do you have a question for me before I wrap this up?
Yeah.
And by the way, I don't have a cold. It's allergy, so I do apologize. I normally don't get a runny nose when I'm on live camera.
Yeah. how do you think that, like, the Red Wings will finish up the season?
Good question, Robbie. That's a really good question. I believe they have 8 games left. I would say 4-4. I think they'll win 4 out of the last 8 games. They have 86 points right now, but I think they'll end up with 92 points, but 92 points ain't going to get you into the playoffs. I think to get into the playoffs in the East, you need at least 95 points minimum. I don't know. I really don't think the Red Wings are going to go more than 4-4 in their last 8. They're inconsistent, Robbie. There's times they can beat anybody in the league, and then last night they laid down against Philly, and then they waited until they were down 4-0 to wake up. And I'm like, they should be urgent every game. You don't wait until another team goes up 4-0 and then, okay, we're going to start playing good hockey now. You have to play 60 minutes. They haven't done that on a consistent basis. And Trevor Thompson, who's on my show tomorrow night, who's covered the Red Wings for 25 years, we're going to talk about what areas this team, why they're not going to make the playoffs, and where they go from here. Right now, I don't see them making the playoffs unless they go 7-1 or 8-0. I feel they're going to have to win 7 out of their last 8 or 8 to get into the playoffs. And they have nobody to blame but themselves, Robbie. They've been relatively healthy this year. Larkin's missed a few games and stuff like that. So has Kane. But it's not like, oh my God, we've lost Dylan Larkin for 40 games, lost Patrick Kane for 50 games. They've been relatively healthy. It's just they've not played good hockey the last month. And I'm not making excuses. And they're inconsistent. You saw how they played against Buffalo Friday. They outplayed the Sabres in Buffalo. And they beat a team that I didn't think they would. And then the next night, they lay an egg against Philly, and then they wake up when it's 4-0. It's like you can't expect to win hockey when you fall behind 4-0. And then, okay, 6 minutes left, we'll show up. And it's like they're too inconsistent, Robbie. They're not good enough. I see them going 4-4, and I see them missing the playoffs. As for the Pistons, I'm hoping the Pistons get the number 1 seed, and I expect the Pistons to get to the Eastern Finals. I'm not saying they're going to win the NBA championship because I think Oklahoma and San Antonio are still ahead of them. But I think the Pistons can at least get to the East Finals. And Kate Cunningham hopefully will be back in a couple weeks. And as for Michigan, I believe Michigan is going to beat Arizona. And I believe Michigan is going to take on I think it's going to be Michigan and UConn in the men's final championship. It's going to be UConn and Michigan. Tell your audience, book it now. Michigan and UConn. Go blue, go Michigan. And as for the Tigers, I think the Tigers are going to win 86 to 90 games. And I think they're going to win the AL Central too. And they got that rookie shortstop, Kevin McGonagall. Keep an eye on Kevin McGonagall. He is really good. He wears number 7 for the Tigers. He's only 21 years old, and he's going to be a special player as well. So I think it's going to be a good time for the Tigers and Pistons. Red Wings, no. So, Robbie, that's my thoughts, and I want to say, and again, we'll plug this. The Bandits, Vancouver, Saturday, April 4th, 7 o'clock, KeyBank Center. Get your tickets at bandits.com, or you can watch the game on ESPN Plus, TSN here in Canada, and on 1520 The Bet in Buffalo with John Gerkler, Steve Bermel, and Dave Buchanan. And again, live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show, Monday, 5:30, Trevor Thompson. Small Talk Podcast, Tuesday, 8 o'clock with Diane Strand. And my website, to follow me on my website, beacons.ai/Chris D. Pomay. And you can find me everywhere on social media except Snapchat. And I'm also on YouTube. Chris Pomay, live with CDP Talk Show. Subscribe, like, and share. And also remember to follow Robby Snyder on Twitter X, on Facebook. And Robbie's got a YouTube channel called the 716 Sports Blizzard Podcast on YouTube. Follow, like, and share Robby as well. Thank you so much, Robby, for having me on tonight.
Thank you for joining me. And I will be down at the game on Saturday.
Take some pictures and videos for me and have a good time. Go Bandits.
Yeah, go Bandits.
Say hi to Robin Monday for me and Logan. And hi, Chelsea. And thank you, everyone, for watching this show on Robby's YouTube channel. And thanks again, Robby, for having me on.
Hope you have a good night.
I'm going to go get some sleep. And thank you so much, Robby. And continued success with your podcast. Don't give up and make sure you reach out to people, okay?
Yeah.
You've made improvements in the couple years I've known you. So just make sure you keep working hard and just enjoy what you're doing. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Thanks, Rob. We'll talk to you soon, buddy.
Talk to you soon.